Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our Friday 15 this week. So, what is a Friday 15, you ask? Every Friday at 12 p.m. Central Time, we go ahead, we take 15, sometimes 20 minutes to answer your questions about the travel industry that you've submitted to us. If you do have any questions, or if you want to go watch past episodes, I can't speak today, please go to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. We also bring on many special guests. So if you want to go watch past episodes, you will see Sheila from Travel Industry Solutions, who is back with us today. Hi, Sheila.
Hey guys, hey Shayna. It's always so good to be here with you. And
Oh,
usually ours run more like 20 minutes, sometimes 25. I know
yes.
that's probably not very good for the algorithm or anything, but there's just always so much to say, right?
Hey, you know what? When they're good questions and there's lots of really good information to share, I
Yeah.
say it's worth going over the 15 minutes. And from the amount of people that have listened to your previous, I'd say Friday 25s, people appreciate it. So I think we're fine. I think we're good. But knowing that will take more time, should we jump into the first question?
Let's do it.
All right. So this is from Lisa. Really great question, Lisa. I'm very confused and overwhelmed by the FIT best practice for travel advisors. When advisors put together an FIT, do they always use tour suppliers like, say, a Classic Vacations, Project Expeditions, or do they make it themselves by reaching out directly to various tour operators if price is more favorable? Or do they just patch things together like a DMC does, so a destination management company?
Mhm.
How do advisors find DMCs or other companies if they don't have these connections? But I think let's focus on, the FIT best practices for travel advisors here.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. But what I will tell you is that in my business, I used DMCs. And if you've ever heard me speak, I always say time is money.
Yes. Preach.
Time is money. And when you identify really great partners on the ground in specific regions, they get to know your expectations. They get to know the type of clientele that you're bringing to them. And so generally, they can be pretty accurate that first time around when they're crafting that itinerary for your client. Also, there's an advantage because they're in destination and they can provide that in destination support to your customers. Is it more expensive? Sometimes,
Mhm.
sometimes it is. But that added expense, that 10, 20% extra expense on top of it is so worth it for the experience of your client. So there is no right or wrong answer. But what I will tell you is that you should be looking at your own business model. What are your goals inside of your business? How much time is it actually taking you to package together all of these pieces and parts? What type of guarantee is there? Have they been vetted? There are so many variables. So, in my opinion, I think it's best to rely on a local operator or a known packager of travel products
Mhm.
to craft vacations for your customers. And this also allows you to be more of an expert in your customer rather than having to know every inch of the earth. You can rely on those partners to educate you.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. And for those of you listening who are unsure what a DMC is, just think of it as a company that specializes in either a country or a smaller region of the world and has those contracts with hotels, transfers, activities, tour guides, and kind of brings everything together. They specialize, like you said, Sheila, in that destination. I
Mhm.
worked for a company that owned 30 DMCs. I think they've now grown to close to 40 DMCs at this point. And we used to always point travel advisors to work directly with the DMC. It also, we talk about a client when they book so many different aspects of a trip that they have one travel advisor to go back to for all of it. I look at,
Absolutely.
right? I look at an FIT. If you're working with a DMC, I look at that as you have one supplier to go back to for something that is very like curated, very specific to your clients, essentially what FIT stands for. So as an advisor, when you talk about, like Sheila, you just mentioned saving time, that is key for me, that I have one supplier I can go back to versus having 8 different aspects of the trip and having 8 different suppliers that I need to go and speak to.
And the other thing too, I think there's a misnomer, Shayna, about the use of DMCs and what type of clientele you need to have in order to utilize a DMC. And I'll tell you that there are plenty of DMCs out there who work with moderate budgets. They do not have to be luxury clients. There are plenty of them. As long as you're upfront and transparent about who your client is, what they want out of the vacation. You know, some of the things that I do in my agency is I have a great intake form, not that my client fills out, but that I fill out when I'm on the call with them, that has all of their preferences inside of the form. And so I not only save that to their customer record inside of my CRM, but I send that to the DMC along with a bio of my client and what my client wants out of the trip. And so, and that includes a budget. So then when I get back that proposal from that DMC, it's generally spot on. And then that DMC will start to build profiles of my clients. So when I was really actively booking, I tended to use the same DMCs in each one of the regions where I heavily booked, because there's no way. I don't have time. I don't have time to go to every little small town in France. I don't have the time or the money to go to every country in Africa, or to go to Japan 16 times. That's a total rarity. So that is the reason why you would want to lean on a DMC or somebody who packages vacations.
Yeah. And who knows that destination inside and out, and the special things that if you've never been, you likely are not aware of. I also great example of, I'm going to Uganda and Rwanda in a couple weeks. I leave on December 3rd, and we worked directly with a DMC, and our trip is kind of premium, like maybe like 4-star, kind of that range. We didn't go luxury. We didn't need to. We didn't feel like we needed to. I think there's a group of 9 or 10 of us that are going together. And it was just 2 of my friends who just ended up bringing together some other friends, worked with the travel advisor, who actually the travel advisor's joining us because she loved the trip so much.
Awesome.
But we worked with a local DMC in Uganda. And it's fantastic. And there was no qualms about that. We're not a luxury client, and price point wise, very affordable for what we're doing.
I'm getting ready to do something like this with my girlfriends. We're going to do sort of an off the beaten path France trip.
Oh, fun.
In April, May, we're looking at. So we were just talking about it this morning. And I'll probably use, somebody that I regularly use to kind of map out. And I'm going to draw from other clients' trips that I've done before. So
amazing.
Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold going on here right now.
I know. I feel better. It's that time of year. It's all the fun.
I know.
Yeah.
Before I know. I was going to say, somebody asked, how do you find DMCs? It may have been the same person who asked.
I think it was. Yeah. How do advisors find DMCs? And I know a lot of Virtuoso calls them on-sites. And so they're preferred within the network. You had some other insights on that?
Yeah, well, so each consortium or your host agencies will have preferred relationships with DMCs. You'll find a lot of DMCs who maybe aren't preferred with your host or consortium will be at different trade shows. There's ILTM, there's, the Las Vegas Travel Agent Forum. There's tons and tons of travel advisor conferences where smaller operators will show up. I often find that if you are a hosted advisor and you're with more of a smaller boutique host, a lot of those owners spend a significant amount of their time traveling around the world. That's really kind of their sole job, is to do that, to vet suppliers for their advisors that are really unique and different. So I know of a couple of them who do that regularly. And so there's lots and lots and lots of options available to you
Yep.
on different DMCs around the world. And also, here's one of the things that I don't recommend you do is I don't recommend that you go into a Facebook group and you ask, what DMC should I use in Japan? Because you don't really know what the standard is of the person that is responding to you. You don't know what their standard is. You don't know what their expectation is. You don't know who the client was for that trip. You don't know what kind of legwork they did to find out about that particular DMC. You really need to be mindful about just going, oh, okay, so but somebody said I should use this one. I'm just going to go there first. Do a little bit of legwork and homework.
I would also, with that, I would also recommend you can reach out to the DMO, so the tourism board of that region as well.
100%.
They're a great source of, you know, they work so closely with their DMCs, which is a beautiful thing. Again, you get really off the beaten path and something different. Also, there are some tour operators that own and like A&K owns and operates a multitude of DMCs, as does Intrepid Travel. And, you know, working directly with their DMCs is absolutely a possibility as well. So definitely things to consider. I am going to very quickly in the comments, we're just going to post an article that's about what is an FIT and kind of taking you through it. And somebody in our long form podcast, our travel agent chatter, Erica Carr, talks about luxury FITs in particular, but definitely worth listening. She kind of gives her insights on what she does, how she does it. Always great to hear from a colleague as well. So Lisa, definitely go check that out. And anyone else who's interested. We ready for question number 2?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is from Quinn, and thank you, Quinn. I know, Quinn, you submitted a multitude of questions. They were fantastic. We're going to cover 2 of them today. So thank you so much. The first one is, with hosts, what startup costs can I expect when joining? Is it better to join one that charges a flat monthly rate, or that you pay a lot every year, or one-time fee, or whatever the style may be? There's got to be a lot of setbacks to one of the styles, I'd imagine, and any other costs with a host that I should consider.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say you're going to have startup costs regardless. So there are some key startup costs that you're going to have. You're going to have E&O insurance. I recommend you have cyber insurance. You need all of your legal forms and protection. You do need, well, you don't have to have this, but you might want to recommend a technology tool, some sort of a CRM where you're managing your own clients. That way, you can take that data easily with you if you decide to change host agencies, an LLC. So forming your LLC. And optionally would be some sort of trademarking around your name and your logo. I would say that those are pretty common standard things. Do you have anything to add to that, Shayna? I would say
no, I'd say that those are some good ones. We're actually I'm gonna link an article as well, TPI, so one of the host agencies we all know and love. They also wrote an article about costs to consider. And what you should be expecting from a host in terms of monthly fees or an annual dues or anything like that. But they go into business formation and licensing, which, Sheila, you pretty much touched on everything. And same with insurance. So different E&O insurance is the number one thing that they talk about. And also to consider just operational costs. So things even like your computer, your internet, booking tools, as you mentioned, accounting software. But they really break it down and break down the costs. So we're going to link that because it goes into some granular detail there.
Yeah. So those are the basic things you need to set up, but then you do have to think about all of those things. You need a computer. You're going to need internet. You're going to need a phone line. You're going to need, you might need a website. You might want to, you don't need to do it right away, but you're going to want to invest in a website. You're going to want to invest in a few different tools, marketing tools, things of that nature. Maybe it's having a budget to attend fam trips or education or things of that nature. That the list can go on and on and on. But the basic things that you need to get started would be those few things that I talked about. Now, Your next part of your question is, what's better? How do I choose a host? Is it based on, the monthly fee, the annual fee? You should never make your decision based on what your host is charging you. Okay.
Yeah.
Ever. All right. That is the worst mistake that you could make ever.
Couldn't agree more. I am right there with you. Don't look at the host and what they charge. They all are within a range.
They are all within a range, and some are even way, 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 way higher. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You should go out and you should interview host agencies. The big ones are all going to tell you the same thing as to what they offer. And they're all going to be roughly the same price.
Yes.
Period. Read the contract. That's super, super important, because some of them have little clauses in there that are kind of tricky. Okay. So if you do decide to leave, and how that affects your commission. So definitely read that contract really close. I always recommend that you look at more of a boutique operation, more of a mid-size operation, and a larger operation. And let's say you know that you're going to really focus on the Caribbean, Mexico, cruises, things of that nature that are really more what I call the contemporary or the mass market. It really doesn't matter, in my view, like where you land, because they're all going to have roughly the same commission levels, the same commission splits when it comes to the big hosts. There will be some nuances, though, inside of some of those hosts where you might have more newer agents, or you might have a mix of agents that make up like corporate. You'll see some of these bigger hosts have like a big whole corporate faction inside of them, and then a whole leisure faction, and then some provide GDS if you know how to use GDS and you really need a strong air booking system. Those are some of the little nuances that you're going to see, not from a commission standpoint or a monthly fee standpoint, but what's inside of that organization, because they're all going to provide their own level of training for you. Mm-hmm. When you get into more of a boutique or smaller one, a host, that's where you're going to have a lot more hands-on, probably from the owner. You're going to have situations where the owner is actually traveling and vetting, a lot of these smaller DMCs or suppliers or things of that nature, and they may be a little bit pricier.
Yep. I would say, Quinn, that it wouldn't be the last thing on my list that I'd be looking at with a host, but it would be one of the latter things that I would be looking at, just because they all typically are within a similar range. I would be looking at the host themselves. What do you need to support your business? What are your focuses on? Which kind of moves into our final question around what niche are you looking at, or where do you want to specialize, or what type of client are you looking for? And then which host kind of best aligns with that, because hosts all specialize in something different. Or if you want that larger host community, then the larger, I call them the whales, the larger hosts will be a better fit for you. So I would say looking at what services are provided, what's a better fit for you, versus if they charge you on a monthly or an annual basis, I'd say that would be, for me, that would be the least of my concerns. I'd be looking more at the hosts themselves.
I would too, and how they're going to fit into what you want to do for your business. And I'm going to tell you, if you're brand new, what you think you want to be today is absolutely going to change in a year or 2 years. And that's why I say you really should look at the contract closely, because some of them do have some little fine print in there that can negatively affect you with commission payout as you're transitioning to another host. So make sure you really kind of pay attention to that. But who you are today is not who you're going to be in a year. I'm going to tell you a true story. When I started my travel agency, I tell this publicly all the time, but every time I'm about to tell it, I get embarrassed again, is I came up with the dumbest name for my travel agency.
I can't wait for this.
But I was thinking about people that are going to be online looking for travel deals. They want a travel expert. So my agency's name was Travel Deal Experts. Originally,
no judgment. Yeah, no judgment.
Pretty good, right? Initially. Well, that did not fit my clientele, nor did it. I didn't really understand the luxury market or the premium market when I started my travel agency. I just really didn't know what existed out there in the marketplace. But I quickly moved into premium and luxury inside of my agency. And within 1 year, I changed the name to reflect who we really served and how I really operated the agency. So that is a perfect example, a real life example of somebody who was totally clueless and had to make a switch. And I also switched my host agency too, to better align with my needs within a year or two, something like that. So it just happens. So I know you don't have all the answers today. Think about what you want today. Don't focus on the price, but who's going to serve your needs best. And maybe think about like a 3-year plan, where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about it as an investment. So you don't need to, it's not about the cheapest price. It's about the quality of what you're getting for what you're getting. Which of course we're already at close to 22 minutes. Our typical, I love it. I hope the audience loves it. But a very quick final question is still from Quinn. I feel like they're like, how do I determine what my niche is? So you kind of led into that already, Sheila, but they say that I feel like I will only make money if I sell luxury.
Oh, not true.
No,
that's not true at all. You know how you're going to make money? You're going to optimize your agency. You have to be hyper efficient. And that is how you're going to make money, because the more clicks you have to make, the more emails you have to respond to, the more follow-up you have to do. It takes away from your money-making activities. Yes. You need to become hyper efficient. That's why I say, look, you figure out who your key suppliers are that you're going to work with. You don't need to spread the love to 100 suppliers. You find the ones that work well with you, that understand your clients. You're going to automate as much as you can inside of your business. You need to make sure that you lay out how you work from the get-go, because that eliminates a lot of back and forth with your customers. You don't need to overthink everything. Also, this is a mistake that I see many travel advisors make, and that is that they hold their client's hand all the way to the bathroom and help them choose the toilet paper that they're going to use. And I'm sorry to be really graphic, but you do not need to do that for your client. You don't need to tell them how to log into XYZ's cruise line. All right. You know what the maintenance is for you to manage all of those email workflows and have to go to each technology and try to update all your scripts and things of that nature? Simple, efficient. You can make a ton of money. I have very good friends who are booking $2 million a year just on one cruise line. That is a contemporary mass market cruise line, and they're making bank, and they're not killing themselves working 70 hours a week.
Oh yeah. I think that thinking that luxury is the way in which is the only way to make money. There's so many other like cruise tours. There's so many other ways that you can do it based on like elite commission levels that I've seen, paid groups. There are so many other ways to do it. And
here's the other thing. I can turn any $250 commission into a $500 commission. And not by increasing the cost of the trip, but it's through insurance. Maybe it's through a pre-stay hotel that I book. Maybe it's encouraging, if it's a cruise client, encouraging them to use Project Expedition for their tours rather than booking them through the cruise line. It's the same tour provider. They're all using the same tour companies. There's only so many of them around the world. Yes. So why not just give your client a small group experience? They have the same guarantee to get them back to the ship.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's how you make more money. So now you're turning a $250 commission into a $500 commission by not really doing anything more. You're just redirecting how they're booking different components.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. And I think that's something everyone needs to understand. Also, the point that you made about handholding. When I used to be a tour leader for a tour company way back when. That's how I started in this industry. And I remember new tour leaders that would come and say, oh, like, this afternoon, like I haven't made any plans for the group. And I'm like, you're leading a group of adults. They can do things on their own, right? Just say you have the afternoon free in Banff National Park, right? Here are some suggestions of things that you can do, but they don't want to stay with the group the entire time. They don't want you to hold their hand and walk them to the bathroom for graphics.
Yeah.
Right? That's okay. People can, like, there are people you're going to have to handhold a little bit more than others, and that's okay, right? You do not need to do that for everybody, though. I know, like, when I booked my Antarctica cruise and I worked with my travel advisor, I literally said, this is the one that I want. Just, this is the date I want. Book it for me, right? I didn't need her to do anything else. I was just like, okay, this is what I need, and that's it. I don't need any more support than that. It's probably the easiest commission she's ever made. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. Right? If anything went wrong, I knew that she was there, and I was paying the same price that I see online to her. So, yeah, but I do need to wrap this up. We are now at 26 minutes. I love it. But we do love a good Friday 26. The two most important links that you are going to see in the comments is to Travel Industry Solutions directory on our website, as well as we will link directly to Travel Industry Solutions. Please go check them out. What they do is not just a nice to have for your business. It's a necessity. So please go and see what they do. Reach out to Sheila, reach out to her team to learn more. For the rest of the year, because it's already November 21st, we are taking next week off for all of you celebrating American Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Sorry, my Canadian Thanksgiving was last month. Mm-hmm. We then have December 5th. We have Lavarte, a KHM company, will be joining us. December 12th, Jen Myers, our marketing manager, and she's also an ex-travel advisor, will be joining Steph because I will be in Africa, and they will be having a special kind of HAR Friday 15. And then our final one for the year will be December 19th, and it will feature us, the HAR team. So any questions that you have for us, please submit them now. We would love to answer them. And thank you for joining us all year. We still got many more to go. And Sheila, thank you as always for your fantastic answers to all of our advisors' questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great one, everybody.